All right, guys, let's kick this off in 3, 2, 1. Thinkerers out there, it is Jim and Garrett, and welcome to the very first episode of Thinkering Weekly, your weekly show giving you the inside look, the inside take at what we do here at Thinkering, from a macro all the way down to a micro. It's our intention, now that we're celebrating 1 year of Thinkering, to really do what we promised to do, which is to build transparently. And so this show is all about the education industry. It's about what's going on in Thinkering right now. And it's really about ensuring that the public, if you will, is really getting the right information when it comes to education news and where our education system is moving.
Happening, like we have to disseminate it into a live show to get all the information out there. There's only so little of us, and we can only have so many hours of the day, and there's so much happening at Thinkering Collective. So this is the only way we're going to be able to get that info out to all of you thinkers out there
in the time frame that we need to, because again, it's moving so fast. And I did want to mention really quick that we want you guys to go and look at thinkeringcollective.org. This is our website and hub for everything that we do within the global community of education. Brand new redesign, really gives you a nice understanding of who Thinkering Collective is as an ecosystem, as you can see, and then gives you a real understanding further around what we do with our collective, which is our fellowships. And we really thought we could go directly to the students, but that's not changing the mindset of the people that are actually on the ground with our learners every day. Our programs currently have now spanned to really on our website, 7 that are being up and advertised, but there are many more in the works. Specialized fellowships around mental health, outdoor learning, early childhood. These are all great things that you should definitely check out. And if you're interested, of course, you can fill out our sign-up form and we'll get right back to you. Shows you the people, the structure, all of the great things, but really, it's just that hub to go to get a great understanding about where Thinkering is right now. Our global fellowships, as you can see, are really the best possible way to get connected with us. Take your, what you might think as crazy and we think as doable idea and put it into action in your classrooms. Really exciting stuff. So definitely check that out. But now we're going to go ahead and pivot to something that, we thought would be a great idea, which is the question of the day. And it's all centered around burnout and summer reflection. So the topic being, as educators step into summer break and process the weight of the past school year, how do we differentiate between temporary exhaustion and deep systemic burnout? We want to know what your thoughts are in providing comments and information in the chat. But initially, Jim, what are you thinking around this question of the day?
It's interesting. We have so many fellows who came to us who ironically didn't know what the Thinkering Collective did, heard about an opportunity to just do something different and signed up. And then they get there the first day and they said, yeah, I have no idea what I've signed up for. I was just burnt out. My why wasn't being fulfilled. I got into this to change the lives of students. And I feel like I'm just hitting standards that do not fulfill my soul or the learner's soul. So, we see a lot of burnout. And then the data out there also just points out that, the system's not set up to retain educators. I think one of the Thinkering Media pieces Evan just put out from one of his interviews that's live up right now was talking about, why good ideas fail in these systems. And it's because turnover is because of burnout.
That's exactly right. And I think part of our work too at Thinkering, talk about an inside take or a back end look is, of course we want to change what learning experiences look like for learners, but we also really want to understand, burnout is such a large term, but what does that actually mean? What are the factors that lead up to it? One of the things, of course, we've found is a lack of agency. Teachers get into it because they're really interested in being curators of experiences. And it's really hard to curate an experience that's not authentic to you. In a lot of ways, these things are being taught, sometimes push back even on morals and values of educators, which ultimately is work that we're really trying to do even on the curriculum level when it comes to kind of solving the bigger problems in education. We don't want to be, solving every problem, but we know what we can pull off correctly or pull off intentionally within our fellowships to help alleviate some of those issues and help educators frame back in the reasons that they got into it in the first place. Okay, so moving on, and we definitely also want to hear what you guys' thoughts are in the chat. All you got to do is comment. We'll respond. We're very responsive on Substack and other social media platforms. This doesn't become a conversation. You can't help push the ball forward without getting engaged, without getting involved on our social media, but mainly our Substack where this show will live.
Absolutely. And like one of the things too for the audience is we internally been talking about white papers and how do we present this data on burnout? We have so many qualitative stories. There's so much quantitative data out there. We really want to talk to the educators and find a way to tell this story that's going to move hearts and create change, because we all see it. We all know it's happening. We just have to tell the story in a way that's actually going to move the needle. And we have to have your voices, your input. And we have to understand the things that you see and face every day, but also the things that you don't see and face every day that you need as a resource. So any feedback there is going to build towards momentum and research and impact. So participation is not only needed, but required.
Yeah, absolutely required. And that, one of the intentions, again, of Thinkering Collective was to provide that space for educators to be a part of something bigger in a time where what we've also discovered is that innovation is stifled within school systems, because that innovator is looked at as a target almost of, how dare this person care about their kids and want innovation within their school system. But to go back to your point, Jim, was talking about how we need to be telling these stories. And it is storytelling, because we have to document and visualize for viewers these experiences, because what we found is, in order to make impact on a larger scale, we have to make people feel. We have to have them see what actually is going on in schools, that there is hope, that despite all of the negative discussion of the Department of Education and what's going on in school districts and system and government and all of that, that there is still hope, and that this calling still drives innovators to be great educators in the classroom. So we did want to call out really quick, and I don't know, Jim, if you can pull up the Thinkering Media Substack and just make sure that we show our viewers here on the weekly show what exactly we're up to. Part of our storytelling arm is this Thinkering Media channel that we've created. And man, we're speaking to a community that really wants to hear our stories. And so we publish articles all the time, not only from ourselves, of course, in writing and doing the research, but even in guest contributors like Christina here, who's the co-founder of Sticks Not Clicks, another great company building technology to magnify the human experience, not replace it. And our content is always, filled with great nuggets, whether it's short form, long form. Here, even on our front page, we've got articles from 2 guest contributors in our partner network of now over 182 partners, which is crazy to me. But the content doesn't stop there. There's a wealth, a library of content that we've now created within the education space with the right folks doing the right work to really move the needle forward. And Jim, I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about some of the projects that are going on at Thinkering Collective with our fellowships.
Yeah, absolutely. We're actually recording some celebrations today, throughout this week and next week. We have some of our final fellows crossing the line before the summer hits, presenting their capstone projects. So it's super exciting. So get ready for about a dozen or so more impact stories heading your way, ideas, innovations, things that are really going to change humanized learning in the classroom. Some of our recent big wins, and one of my favorites is Anahi Labar here. She is creating a program for blind learners, and as a blind learner and educator herself, she had this understanding that nobody is really thinking about how do we what jobs can blind learners really do. Instead, people are asking well what jobs are good for them, and there's this disconnect where nobody's thinking about the endless possibilities of how these learners can apply their skills across so many industries. People instead think about it as very limiting factor, and she's there to disrupt that. So her project is super awesome. One of the things that she's going to be doing is helping make sure that these kids are connected with industry experts who can help explain, how do you get into these roles? What's the path that you have to take? What are the things inside these industries that are really going to play to their strengths, and how they can position themselves and understand themselves, not only as like portrait of learner, but portrait of self, and get that self empowerment of confidence. So it's really cool to see an educator taking personal hurdles, personal experiences, but also seeing that need for the students and then translating that into something real world. One of my other favorite ones that I've seen real recently, they're all so good, is this one with Daryl here. I was also the kid who couldn't see the point, and helping young learners with a program that helps them see the point behind the learning that we're doing. And we're not just memorizing dates, and it's not just memorizing the periodic table with a song. There's a reason why. And the reason why is different for every person. So coming up with a program to make sure that children and youth who have felt so disconnected can connect back to who they are as a learner, find their personal why and what they're learning, become passionate about it, is so cool. And then we have some mental health programs. Michelle was kind enough to sit in on a session with us that we had last month for Mental Health Month, where she took tapping and some of these awesome SEL practices into her classroom, determined just with 5 minutes every day that she could make real impact, and she wasn't going to be deterred by naysayers or people who didn't get it. And she's persevered so much to the point where she's now creating 3 separate books, one for early childhood, one for middle children, and one for high school students, all about not really waiting for permission to think about self and to nurture themselves and find ways to love and be kind and take moments to process who they are, what's going on in their life, but also the understanding that it doesn't define them. So, the one common thread that's beautiful about all of these projects is that these teachers are really thinking outside of the box, and they're not just thinking about themselves and their own experience, but the learners as well. And one final one I'd just really like to shout out here is this one. It's so cool. This educator had an idea with spice kits and using the Magellan's path around the world and all the spice trade routes. How can I send children home with, farm to table spice kits so they can understand where these spices come from, how they have value, how they apply to their food. They can use it and experience it, but then also understand how these spice routes really drove the economics and cultural movements throughout the globe. So just such a cool project where, we think about the impact that Oregon Trail had on all of us. This is something that
Dysentery. Yeah. I got dysentery from it numerous times.
This is something that's just right up that alley where you can imagine kids playing this game and exploring the world, and as adults still doing it. Super awesome stuff on Thinkering Media.
Yeah, and I think it's good to point out too, and this is the reason for this show, right? Is like you hear about on a high level and one off as we pump out content, if you're following like what we do in these projects, and we have these, great Zoom calls with these folks, and sometimes it's on the ground and all. But I think it's good to see, one, the enormity of how many projects are coming through, but then two, on the inside, that we're in the process now of all of these ideas now becoming reality within the classroom, being able to go from a churn rate of maybe 35 to 40% of our projects to now 85% in this last cohort are pushing forward on making these projects happen. It just goes to show that, one, I think as a nonprofit, we're learning a little bit more and getting a little bit better about how to connect resources and also tell these stories in a meaningful way. But then two, that this movement or this understanding of something needs to change, that it will require bravery on an educator's front, that we're able to get down on the ground and really document and tell those stories, because it's 2 parts. One, people get to look and feel and act from those stories. And two, as within the Thinkering Collective, being able to like be on the ground and understand what these projects mean, I think is all this kind of cycle of improvement for what we're trying to do and growth ultimately. So definitely go check out the media channel. Again, thinkeringmedia.substack.com. We'll put it up on the screen for you to do so. Subscribe. If you're not subscribed, what are you doing? If you're watching any of this content, the podcasts, the documentary stories, the guest speakers, the guest videos, the panels, the roundtables, the everything, it's all free. I don't know what people are doing, Jim, but like definitely, if I see a view and not a subscriber, I'm sorry. What are you doing? Thank you. I was
Some news from around the world.
I don't know. That's not going to be the music that we use, but yeah, let's definitely check out the headlines of what's going on in the world when it comes to education. This first article is out of, I believe, NPR, correct? Is this the NPR article? Yep. And basically, this is an AI poll. And this study revealed that a critical paradox where teachers are using generative AI to survive massive administrative workloads while simultaneously reporting that these automation tools break down classroom trust and creative thinking. It frames the immediate conflict between maximizing bureaucratic optimization and safeguarding authentic human relationships. Basically thinking the juxtaposition, the irony, the hypocrisy that we're seeing in this AI world of admin using AI, but then aligning with parents that are concerned about AI and publicly putting that out in their board meetings, their district meetings, all of that.
And how does that really play into the thinkering narrative? Because I mean, we're big on AI and tech, but for the purpose of fulfilling these and enabling these human moments, and it seems like a lot of implementation is not doing that. And is it the fault of the products? Is it the fault of the people implementing it? Is it just fear of AI? Like
it's back to the. Sorry, go ahead, Jim.
Well, I was just gonna say we get it. What's this hurdle here?
Yeah, it's like it goes back to a conversation that we had earlier today, where are we being intentional at all about ensuring that we capitalize upon the things that AI does to make us more human, to allow for us to magnify what that human connection or experience is? And in this moment, just to get really granular on it, is the human experience we're talking about is school system understanding, truly listening and truly talking to families about why, and teachers and admin staff and all of these people about why they are fearful of AI, and then actually taking that information, learning from it and applying it to their school district. And I think what this shows is a lack of care or concern from the top equals the microcosms that we have now when it comes to how AI is implemented in classrooms with this fear and privacy and all of that. It's like, well, if we were really using this correctly, would it even involve private information of learners? You know what I mean?
Right. And it seems like there's this common thread. What I have pulled up here, it's all about trust and human relationships. And, the bottom part is a little interesting. 20% of people are saying that AI is going to eventually reduce the need for teachers in K through 12 education. And, I think the thinker and collective perspective on that is that's laughable. And it's kind of scary that 20% of people think that the human can be taken out of the learning process. And then, 32% of educators are saying that AI is making me a better teacher. And that's fascinating because, AI at a minimum is just, Google on crack. So, I mean, 100% of the people should, I feel like, be using it and be better for it as an educator. So I think there's this disconnect and fear about how do I use it? What's my goal in using it? And is it helping me? And then on the student and teacher trust side, we interviewed those students at FETC with our board member, Dr. Kip Glazer, at Mountain View High. And those students were awesome. And one of the things they kept touching on when you were talking to him, Garrett, was that they use AI to explore and learn beyond the standard and beyond the lesson. And the pamphlet they've been given to fill out begs one or two questions, but internally they have 10 more that they're curious about. And they're using AI to quickly get past these things that are obligatory. Oh, I need to memorize this. Oh, I need some kind of answer on this. But then they're using AI to explore what that outdated 10-year-old textbook is not talking about. So I think, to me, as a learner who was always trying to, dig in a little deeper and found resistance from the system, I think that's going to be the great thing that AI is able to overcome and conquer.
Yeah, and such a good point, and is laughable. And I kept thinking about this, like this idea of, and really, to me, a good one, because I thought of it. No, I'm kidding. And two, because it really is that learning is a biological process. It's evolution. We're constantly wanting to be better and have this urge, as not just humans, but really as all of the biological creatures on this earth, always striving to be better. And we're trying to create that same process digitally, when the aspects of what this biological process are missing,
Yeah, absolutely. And then here's another one that we have from University of Michigan, talking about, you know, chronic absenteeism in schools, and, low, low what should schools do to lower the chronic absenteeism? And we think, we have the solution here at Thinkering, which is naturally, like, let's invest in the educators. Let's help bring their dream projects to life. These are the people who are on the ground, who know what their learners are begging for, and they know what their heart is begging to give to these learners. So let's empower these people who know what the classroom needs, who have that big idea, who have the passion to build those dream projects. Because once you have that excited educator who can't wait to teach the student, and you have that learner who's bought in because they helped determine the future of what they're learning, and it's personal to them, you can't help but reduce people leaving school. And then it also tackles into some of the mental health issues as well that might play into that, where instead of needing a place to escape, or maybe family trauma or something like that's going on, and school being another thing on the to-do list, where you got to show up stressed out and asked to do things you don't want to do. Now it's that great escape, that place where you can be anything. You're the person in control. It's your learning journey. You're bought in. It's a beautiful thing that Thinkering can do to reduce absenteeism.
Well, and because learning, like going back to it, is an innate need, and yet I think currently in our system, it's stifled and squashed out of kids. And the solutions are, even with this article, is like going back to what would bring kids to school: make it interesting, make it safe, make it, and all of the things that you were talking about, I think we're going back to, like, make it interesting and engaging and provide agency, which are words we all hear about, but these are the outcomes of the lack of those words.
Yeah. And this is an example of why white papers kind of suck, y'all. But just listen to this. 9,000 students in the Boston public school system from 2007 to 2010. The researchers found that absence rates of anywhere between 3 and 7% are an indicator of poor academic performance on state-level standardized tests, a pattern which becomes increasingly clear as students grow older. Additionally, overall absences are linked to poor academic performance in math classes, given that math classes build upon each other and therefore are harder to catch up in. Well, that's to me very super basic, that if the students aren't in class learning, they're not going to do well on their standardized tests. And then naturally, math, like any other thing that is foundational learning and builds upon itself and is iterative, is going to be harder when you miss the basic first steps. So well, super cutting edge stuff from the Ford School at University of Michigan here.
All the money, all the time that went into the research. But what's sad is, I think we're way more eager to print those percentages than we are to do anything about it, which sucks.
Yeah. And I wonder, how much of that is, someone's always funding the research and someone's always funding the data, and it's not usually the person who's looking to also like implement the solution where everyone wins. Usually it's the person
That's like
trying to implement the
heartfelt
solution.
and wants to change thing. Yeah, that
Right.
sucks.
We have another one, learning in the garden, which is super cool. And with all of our LCPS stuff, that's we love tying in outdoor learning.
Yeah, and this one covers all. Passing the assembly unanimously, this bill establishes statewide guidance and formal grant structures to legally embed outdoor and environmental learning directly into K-12 matrix. Excuse me. It offers a tangible legislative template for reducing screen fatigue and rebuilding student focus through place-based environments. This goes right back to, like Jim said, the work we're doing with Loudoun County. Called it. And seeing the experiences and outcomes of what those learning environments look like down on the ground. And we know, like, the most basic stat that I always drop is 28% reduction in cortisol when you step outside. Literally when you step outside. And imagine what that does for one of the biggest topics of discussion in education, which is regulation. So something like this is a big win. Mind you, a lot of things start in California that don't get pushed out, unfortunately, and fortunately in some ways. But let's hope, as these programs like our fellowship and outdoor learning and California passing this bill, let's hope overall that we're in the right direction and on the right track, because I do think that there's a good portion of large cities and their children that think that we go all in on tech and just adapt our daily lives to that. And then I think there's a whole other world of people that see the value of, including myself, of kids just getting back to what kids used to do and how valuable that is for learning experience.
And that's like the foundation of what you do at Creative Gardens as well. It's like let's let kids be kids, and we can learn through that.
Let's be the ones with wisdom as adults and allow for kids to do what they should be doing and they naturally do if left to their own devices, which is to be curious.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is super cool too, because it ties into Thinkering in a couple of ways. One, we have the outdoor learning programs fellowship in Loudoun County, and those are just outstanding. We have educators that are creating, sensory gardens, and we have educators that are teaching their classrooms through the students' decision about birds and creating bird sanctuaries. And they're going to be teaching the next kids that come in, and it's all about legacy is what we're learning with a lot of these Thinkering projects, but especially these outdoor ones where it's, I won't be here forever. Who's going to take over the courtyard? How's it going to work during the summer? And it's really been, I think the breakthrough on the Thinkering side has been the community involvement, where we've had landscapers come in and just write checks and give free services. We've had people donate equipment and benches and all kinds of stuff to help bring this to life. So I think not only does the political environment see that legislators, like, we need to start focusing on this human moment as this tech has been creeping in for the last 40 years. We need to get our humanity back. And then on the other side of things, at Thinkering, this is in California we're talking about. So we have our California literacy program coming out in San Diego soon with Learning Upgrade, Vinod Lobo. Rotary Club is one of the sponsors there. Check it out on the website. It's already up there. But that's really powerful to know that what we're doing on one coast in Virginia is being called for on the West Coast statewide. And we have the model to really bring to them and say, hey, this is how you do outdoor learning. It's the same system. Empower your educators. They already know the spaces where they want to build. They already have the programs in mind. The students are already asking for these things. Like, all we have to do is give them the resources, and knowing that in California, we might be able to tie this outdoor learning initiative with our literacy initiative and really do something special and unique there. Is a super cool opportunity.
Awesome. Let's move on to the truancy criminalization and legal enforcement. This is in my home state of VA, but basically talking about same thing, which is, kids basically not wanting to come to school anymore, or parents, what we've seen, providing alternative experiences and just not reporting, not caring to let the system know. I don't blame them, to be honest with you. But state legislative trends are moving to categorize student absenteeism as criminal parent neglect, attempting to use legal force to mandate physical presence. It demonstrates the structural failure of trying to litigate compliance rather than focusing on transforming the school experience so students.
So there's something to that where it's like, there are no bad pets, just pet owners. There's no bad learners, just bad educators. There's no bad kids, just bad parents. Like, we do have to kind of put the fire under the people who are responsible, And I think there's something to knowing that school's been empowered, the educators are now empowered, the students are happier, mental health is increasing, going in a positive direction. Building that kind of thinking environment at a school is really one way to kind of encourage that and help bring the parents in as well. I was talking to a neighbor school administrator, and she was telling me one of the hardest things is like communicating to the parents how much they're trying and how good of a job they're doing in these certain areas. And I think that's one of the things that Thinkering programs can really help do, is by empowering that educator and the parents seeing all this awesome, innovative, unexpected stuff happening in the classroom. Really comes into that push to buy in and also understand and bridge that connection between that student who maybe wants to be absent. And now when the educators bought in, the parents bought in, the other students and their peers are bought in, it's a lot harder to not care when everyone around you does.
That's exactly right. And even thinking about even the most challenging schools, whether it be rural or inner city with Title I, is like a lot of these kids don't have outs to the world, like maybe in the suburbs or different areas. And sometimes it's providing this experience at school that gives them an understanding of that out. I think about all the entrepreneurial programs that should be in schools right now to provide some interest in something that goes against what they're currently seeing in their lived experience every day. So providing these programs that give kids an understanding, like we are building one through a garden in Loudon about through entrepreneurship with the garden to help kids that are, potential behavior issues, emotionally disturbed, things like that, to give them ways in which they can be meaningful and have purpose in life. And you just don't see enough of it. Well, again, we state the problem so much now with this, with absenteeism and kids, but can you blame them? Even if it's a parent, keeping them at home, can you really blame them in the sense of what interest do they have in coming to school? I mean, I get it more so, I think you do too, Jim, of like, there was this understanding very early on in my own school experience of like, this isn't going to really help me in what I want to do. So, and it's not interesting. And you're just sitting up there telling me I have to be quiet for 8 hours a day and not willing to do that yourself.
That's like the powerful thing about all Thinkering and all these capstone presentations. I can't wait for the one we have in about an hour. Is like, I didn't have thinker teachers. I had some of, and some of them were awesome. And it's kind of ironic. The thinker teachers I had were teaching subject matters that I could care less about. And they understood that, and they got that I was a smart kid and that I could grasp material if I wanted to, but like I was doing other things. And we just kind of had that understanding. But a lot of my educators, I just look at some of these people who are presenting projects at Thinkering Collective. I just think, like, I probably say it every time they present, man, if I had this when I was growing up, if I had this, I would have been engaged. I wouldn't have been going through the textbook looking for spelling and grammatic errors, like a jerk. I would have been listening and participating. Yeah.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. I was still using my brain just, in my own little world, but I would have participated if everyone around me was a thinker and just building and passionate and engaged, because that's what I wanted to do, was be passionate.
And it goes back to being curious. I think if you had a thinker or teacher, it's someone that's curious themselves, asking and curious in who you are and why you do what you do. Why are you looking at that Webster's dictionary? How can I leverage that? You know what I mean? To like improve your educational experience. I think we're getting to that place now where we're hitting a tipping point, which I think ultimately from the rubble of the ground rose Thinkering Collective. We're hitting this tipping point of like, now we really can't keep doing the same BS that we've been doing. So, and now to the point where now kids are just not showing up.
Right.
at
Yeah.
all. Like, and to go back to it, we had another article that just again shows absenteeism as 1 in 5 students remain chronically absent.
That
One
I
in
don't
five.
qualitatively, it was not like that when I was in school. Like
Not at
just
all.
from experience looking around, I think my high school, my graduating class had like over 300 people, 320, something like that. I think I knew every kid's first and last name, like, and kids didn't really miss school. Yeah. There's like,
No, and you were afraid of the truant officer, even though, like, if you really look into that, like,
yeah,
what are they going to do? You know what I
right.
mean? But
I, I skipped school
crazy.
one time. Everybody in my Spanish class decided that we would go to Mexican for lunch. So we skipped lunch and went to Mexican food, and then tried to use the excuse that it was an exploratory activity, and didn't go too well.
Oh yeah, I mean, that's why I really relate to school not being interesting, especially in high school for me, is because I think I might have set the record for not being there. You know what I mean? I was this absenteeism, but I think it was a little bit, not a little bit, a lot more, it applied a lot more negative context to me at the time than it did to what's going on right now. Like I think I'm very much more understanding that kids are not wanting to go to school now than ever, because for me it was like I was kind of an outlier and everybody's like, he's not doing anything with that his life, he's not going to college, blah 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 blah. I showed them, no, I'm
Yeah, look
kidding.
at me now, y'all.
Look at me now, look at these TVs in the background, look at all my
Exactly.
TVs. All right.
Summer push at Thinkering. It's summertime, school is out, but that does not mean things are stopping at Thinkering Collective. We have a bunch of things that we're getting ready to push. We have a big announcement coming up that we'll tease now. We've been talking with B Podcast Network about introducing maybe 50 or so media properties in partnership to the Thinkering media experience. So be on the lookout for that. If you think we had a lot of content coming your way already, it's about to get tenfold. And we're also going to be launching a subscriber network with that. So our interactive workshops, if you want to come to those, if you want to participate on some of these lives, come on camera. If you want to get into the chats, have archives, access to all the materials from way back, there's going to be so much value that we're going to be giving to our subscribers, and we can't wait to tell you all about it, because like the content tenfold coming, the special stuff for subscribers we have planned is going to be awesome. And then in the fall, we should be launching bi-weekly workshops where we're going to be bringing different people throughout our network to you all in the audience, and we're going to be having these kind of fireside discussions. So the keynote speaker you chase down at the conference that you get to ask one question to, and then that begs 10 more, and you don't get to answer. Like, this is your time to sit down with these people and really ask those questions, get the follow-up questions in, get their contact info, and establish relationships. So we're super excited to bring all that to you over the next couple months.
And there's no one else, guys, on the ground working with teachers, trying to understand what you guys need and want. And that's how we structure value for you. We're not pulling it out like every other education publication of our asses, not down on the ground with the right people. We're literally working with educators every single day, hearing and understanding exactly what you guys want and need to make your experiences better, to cut out the burnout, to say, fuck you to the red tape. And I'm going to keep that, because that's what we need to do. Is we need to get a little louder and we need to start pushing back, my friends. And we do that in ways, of course, that teachers do, by setting an example, by actually magnifying that voice that you care in your school, and be a game changer, a change maker, as we call them, and more so, a thinker.
That's the important one. And a thinker, for all those out there, we have the dictionary definition. A thinker is a curious change maker. That's all it is. So if that's you, you belong here as part of the collective. And it's not, our collective, it's our collective. It belongs to all of us. So this is a movement that requires people putting in their passion, and together we can do it and make the shift to humanized learning. One of the things that we're doing with these workshops also is we're going to start sharing them with you all. So the subscribers, they're going to be able to attend, they're going to be able to come live and hang out and participate. But people who don't subscribe, we don't want you to miss information that can just be game changing in your classroom or at your school. So we're going to be sharing those with you. Some of the recent ones that we're super excited to share with you. We had Vinod Lobo from Learning Upgrade come with our fellows. He talked about the science of reading and how that we can turn literacy and gamification into this fun, engaging experience. We had Noah Daniel come through, and she talked about the aspects of mentoring and mentorship. She's our mentorship imaginator at the Thinkering Collective, and she was talking about agency and belonging, well-being, and how you can apply that in the classroom. We had Dr. Chris Culver come through, who was talking about the science of kindness, and Garrett got into a little bit earlier about the cortisol levels dropping when you're outside. But Dr. Culver gave a huge presentation, about an hour, on just the science that goes behind kindness, and the difference between kindness and niceness. I'm too nice. I need to be kind.
More kind. Yeah.
But so we have that content coming out to you all real soon, and we're super excited to share those special sessions and workshops. And once we're through the summer, we're going to have so much more of that content coming out for all of you all.
And we're really excited. And that's not where we leave off, guys. We're super excited about our district hybrid model with our fellowships. You know, one of the things we're really fascinated about is how do we make these experiences more human? We know that that's where we connect. We know that in our fellowships that we really got to get on the ground with these educators and really talk shop. We've now exercised that in Denver. We recently went to Meow Wolf, which is this experience center that blows your mind. It's like you're on mushrooms, but you're not on mushrooms. But if you are on mushrooms, definitely go there, because that's the land of it. But what I would say is we had the opportunity to meet with 70 Denver public educators at Meow Wolf, this crazy place that you're seeing on the screen right now. And we really landed with them in who we are, what we do, and the first 5 weeks of our fellowship, really allowing for those educators in room with us to not only share their idea, but get their idea out on paper, work with other educators to collaborate across their districts. And even in that case, across school districts of having Denver and Aurora Public Schools all in the same place. We did a Thinker Docs about it. It's awesome to take a look at exactly what we were talking about. It felt like I was doing stand-up comedy, and in some ways I was. But the one thing that I walk away from is that we need to do it more. We have future plans to do it on the East Coast soon. More information about that later as we roll it out, but we're really excited to get educators in with us, having experiences that are a little bit outside the box, that help frame up why we do what we do and how we can continue to be curious change makers in our school systems moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely. You want to go into I'll pull up the website if you want to talk about the new programs and cohorts we have coming up.
Yeah. So obviously with our fellowships, we, started with our general fellowship, taking educator ideas from across the world and making them a reality in their classrooms. But in that journey, discovered that there was a need for more specialized, more focused fellowships that are now live, that now we're starting in both October and February of each year, starting with our outdoor learning fellowship. Went from a model in one school district to now globally. All of our fellowships are 10 weeks. It's roughly 2 to 3 hours per week. Easy $400, $450 per fellow. 99.9% of our projects have not been funded by teachers. We'll talk you through that if you sign up. And of course, now we have over 180 partners growing. We have a Learning Foundations with University of Chicago. That one is all about how we implement technology into early childhood with the right information and taking in the right research to really inform that experience. Literacy Upgrade, as Jim talked about, out in California, all centered around literacy improvement within school systems, Title I, all of it, working directly with Learning Upgrade. Our partner, Vinod, over there is an awesome, awesome guy. If you want to be involved, sign up there. New York Inspired, we've taken over the entire state of New York alongside NYSCATE and Ulster BOCES. Let's go Knicks. Oh my goodness. Killing it. This is a big one. We've already got our first cohort up and running. They're about to graduate, actually, and we're into our second cohort in October. We are scaling across the state to have educators, hopefully at every district, innovating and being those thinkers, those curious change makers, starting a movement. Healthy Minds, all working together with our mental health partners. Amazing 11 partners actually are attached to this one, centered all around mental health, improving improvement in school systems, programs, and how we can scale those within our schools as well. Jim, do you want to take the last?
Yeah, that's a
What are
lot
they?
of awesome partners on that one.
Yeah, just unbelievable.
Yeah. And we have our leadership fellowship that we're developing. That's a special one. This is going to be a unique experience outside of those other fellowships. We have a lot more information coming on that soon. And we're going to be talking with this one about AI, future ready school systems, and all those pain points we talked about earlier with educators who are afraid of AI. We're trying to adopt it, but the implementation just doesn't seem to be sticking, or this doesn't seem like it was made for me, the educator. It was felt like it was made by an outsider. Like, we're here to help solve all of that. And we want to build leaders who not only understand these systems, but understand how they can use them to create those human moments. So we're using AI and these future ready schools to reduce absenteeism, to create these engaged learners, to improve student mental health, to move the needle in literacy. All of this stuff is going to be moved by strong leaders who are empowered. And that's what this special program is about. And then finally, if you don't feel like anything that we've mentioned so far is tailored to you, that's what the Global Fellowship is for. It's what if there was no red tape? We don't want you to think within budget restrictions. We just want you to think, okay, I'm the kind of person who has a why. I got into education to make a difference in students' lives. I want to build something special. You may not even know what that idea is yet, or you might have that spark that keeps you up at 2 a.m. That's what the 10-week program is about, figuring out what's this idea? How do we take it from napkin to something that's a real world, and something that's not going to just be brought out to the world and then go away, but something that's going to have life and legacy and breathe life into other projects, because you don't have to recreate the wheel that somebody else is building. And that's the whole point of Thinkering Collective is if you want to build something, if you have a spark or an idea, this is the place to do it, and find those other people who have those similar sparks and similar ideas, combine forces, lean on our partners, leverage your ass, bring the community in to get that support, lean on Thinkering Media for exposure. All of it is available here at Thinkering Collective, and we just need you with a little bit of spark and a whole lot of passion.
Yeah, and just to clarify, Jim said lead with your ask, not lead with your ass. And maybe if you want to lead with your ass, you can lead with your ass, but that's on you. That's on you.
That's the other nonprofit.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Leadwithyourass.org. But I wanted to tell you guys a little bit about where we're going to be in the next few months. It's a crazy, crazy, crazy fall for Thinkering. We're using the month of July to really audit every aspect of our practice, to push forward. We're going to be dropping all kinds of news and new programs and all kinds of great stuff in the fall. But we start that journey out. We're going to be at many conferences. You're going to see this face at too many conferences alongside Jim. We're going to be next at ISTE. That's in Orlando. We're really excited about it. We've got a ton of interviews booked. We're going to be in every aspect. People are going to be like, what the hell is this Thinkering Collective? Like they always are, which is exactly what we want. We want them to come and check us out, and for you to come check us out. There's the Deeper Learning New York Conference, July 14th and 15th. We're at the Marvelous Education Alliance Symposium down the road in DC from me in October. That kicks off our October tour. I feel like we need to call this the tour now. MassQ Fall Conference on my birthday, EdTech Leaders Alliance Conference, October 18th through the 20th, and the National Forum to Advance Rural Education, October 19th through 21st. We're going to be literally everywhere and talk about lead with your ass. We're going to be up your ass in education coming up soon, and I'm really excited about it.
I don't know how to transition that one. Speaking of up your ass, new members.
That's how you have to do it.
Yeah.
Speaking of up your ass.
Yeah. We were like to welcome new members to the network. We have so many awesome people who now no longer want anything to do with us. But we'd like to welcome Dr. Karen Dudick-Baranin. She's the host of the De Facto Leaders. Erica Shoemaker, she's an education change agent at Learn 21. Kevin Gantus, the COO at Learn 21. Melissa Sadorf, executive director at NREA, host of the Rural Scoop, and we're so excited to come to that conference. And then Scott Shewitt, he's the co-host of Fabulous Learning Minds. And then we have Jack Etter, Bailey Lubacker, Dr. Ron Chi, Vivian Coles, Dorit Astroff, so many more thinkers joining the network each week. We can't wait to start introducing them all to you in a little bit more in depth, having them come on these shows with us and hanging out and maybe bringing a little bit of professionalism to whatever it is that we're
Hey,
doing.
you know what? That's part of this show, and I think it's good to show that we are actual personalities with character. But I definitely did want to bring up a milestone, a literary milestone, celebrating our dear and near partner, Dr. Chris Culver, on the release of his new book, Be the Light, The Science of Kindness and the Power of Belonging. This guy is no joke, Jim. Our Thinkering community, they definitely got to check out Chris's book. We'll drop the link, guys. He just did one of our fellowship speaking engagements and just absolutely knocked it out of the park. Like, I left in some tears after talking with Dr. Culver. The work he's doing around the science of kindness is unmatched. Definitely check out his website and check out that sport coat, man. That guy definitely knows what's up when it comes to how to brand.
He is the best swagger out of anybody ever, and I can't wait to meet him at a conference because I'm going to bring my A game, and we're just going to have a swagger on.
I was about to say, it's going to go from like pocket squares to what do you got in your lapel? What do you got here? Yep, I know how that's going to go. Yep, I love it. But definitely check that out. I want to make sure too that everyone makes sure to check out our website, check out Thinkering Substack. That's where all of our latest news comes out. Jim, I did want to say, is there anything else we want to talk about? We'll edit this part out, but
yeah, go follow our socials, y'all. We got about 50,000 of you here on Substack. Like, go over to Instagram, find us on TikTok. We're over on those places too. Content is a little differentiated. You're going to get it all here on Substack, so you're not missing anything. But if you want something a little bit different flavor, something extra, you can go there and get a little bit more thinkering as well.
That's right. And yeah, we really thank you guys for tuning in today. Exciting news, though, moving forward is that this show will be a live format. We really want this to be out live to the community. We wanted to put this out there for you guys right now to walk through, really understand what this show looked and felt like. It felt like we have a good flow, and we're going to bring this to you. So you're going to have the opportunity in our Substack to chat, to talk to us, to go back and forth on these topics. We really want to create a transparent way for our community to really engage with us here at Thinkering Collective, because we can't do it without you. And you can't do it without us. And that's the way this relationship's going to work. So from Thinkering Collective, from Jim McGuire, Garrett Wilhelm here, we'll see you next week on Thinkering Weekly Live.
And we'll see ya.